Gunpowder Milkshake is the brand new Netflix original film hitting Netflix on July 14th. The film stars Karen Gillan, Lena Headey, Chloe Coleman, Michelle Yeoh, Carla Gugino, Angela Bassett, and Paul Giamatti. And the lead character is Karen Gillan's character. He's protecting the 8-year-old played by Chloe Coleman as they reunite with Karen Gillan's mother, played by Lena Headey, and the 3 librarians to take on a crime syndicate. The film is 1 hour and 54 minutes and is rated R. My name is Max Zimmer. Welcome to a brand new Netflix review here on Max Talks Movies. Today we're talking about Gunpowder Milkshake, their new big action film of possibly the entire year or the summer, as some people are saying. Before we get my non-spoiler thoughts on Gunpowder Milkshake, please guys like the video. Smash the thumbs up button, guys. That's the best way to support this channel at the moment. Also, please comment down below your thoughts on this movie. First of all, if you've checked out, tell me it's one of your favorite Netflix movies of the year. Movies in general of the year. I've seen a lot of mixed, really just positive. Some people love the movie, some people like the movie. Really great to see your guys' thoughts in the comment section down below. I'll also respond to all your comments. Also, please consider subscribing if you're new to the channel and ring that bell for notifications. I do movie reviews like these, TV show reviews, movie rankings, and a box office breakdown. So also at the end of my review, I'll tell you my schedule of videos for the coming days. So let's get into Gunpowder Milkshake. I was really interested in another Netflix action film. Really last year, 2020, was a pretty big year for Netflix action movies. And we had Extraction really take on a big fan group. Then you also had The Old Guard. There was a lot of big action films from Netflix last year, and a lot of people seem to dig it because they're not high budgeted. They do a lot of throwback action films, and you can really throw this one really in that category. Throwback. It's a very retro action movie. And let's start with my positives before I go into my negatives. First, the positive with this movie is the action. The action is really fantastic in this movie, and it makes it just a joy to watch when you're watching this film. There's a couple of one that come into particular. There's a car chase in a parking lot that I really loved. There's a hospital scene fight that I really, really loved. And the diner fight scene at the end of the movie. Those are kind of the three. And one in the live, those are like 4 action scenes wise, like shooting people. I would say the library scene and the last 2 scenes, the library and the diner, those 2 scenes are really well done action wise. The choreography is on point. The violence is there. It's not super, super violent, but it's still violent enough to get you to gasp at some points during the film. And just the action just feels fresh as well. A lot of people are comparing it to John Wick. Again, these type of action choreography, it feels very unique to this genre, and it was very nice and refreshing to see this type of action in an action movie. My favorite characters of the entire film, though, are these 3 librarians played by Carla Gugino, Angela Bassett, and Michelle Yeoh. They kick a lot of butt in the movie, and they're easily the most interesting characters in the entire film. Now, sadly, they're not in the film that much. And when they're on screen, they really do steal the entire movie, but at times they're just not felt enough throughout the entire film. But as a whole, those are 3, of my opinion, clearly the best characters of the entire film. Once they get into the action with our main characters, that's when the film really feels energized, when they're getting into the action scenes. And the idea of these librarians, and when you watch the movie, how they're involved in the crime game or how they handle guns and all the different types of stuff. Once you watch the movie, it's very unique, very fresh, and an idea that is very clever, actually. I was like, that's a really clever idea with how they treated these librarians and the way this library is run for the most part. Also, Chloe Coleman delivers a really solid child acting performance. She's actually quite good in the movie. She was in My Spy last year of Dave Bautista, so she makes another big action movie here with Gunpowder Milkshake. She was actually quite good, and you really did feel for her character at times throughout the entire film. Again, it's a fun movie. It's a good turn your brain off action film for 1 hour 54. Another part that I liked about the movie a lot was the direction and the cinematography. The movie looks really cool, and there's a lot of retro diner stuff, and the film just feels, again, fresh, which is it's nice to see in an action movie, especially on Netflix. It's so well shot. And the film you can never take your eyes off the screen because there's so many amazing shots throughout the entire film. But let's move into my negatives, guys, with the film. And for me, the main issue with the film is definitely the script. It is a clear, strong issue I have with the movie is the script. The story is very cliche, and because actually the most shocking part about the movie is that the movie isn't funny at all, and the movie isn't really trying to be funny. And that was a thing that I think the film desperately needed, because you have Karen Gillan, who I do like a lot in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, as Nebula and Jumanji, and I think Karen Gillan, who pops in other things as well, is quite good. But for me, when you don't have a funny written movie, you kind of need a charismatic actor to throw in their own humor and their own isms into the film to make the film even more lively. But Karen Gillan is just not as charismatic as I think the movie needed this character to be. They also try to sell you on this mother-daughter relationship between Lena Headey's character and Karen Gillan's character. And for me, it just doesn't work at all. Once you get the opening scene, I was actually kind of invested in the story, but Lena Headey is not in the movie that much. And for this to be kind of one of the main, even possibly the main storyline in the film, it just isn't given enough screen time for this to be the main storyline between this mother-daughter relationship and how that's supposed to connect to Karen Gillan and Chloe Coleman's relationship. You just don't feel any emotion. And that's kind of the main issue with the film, is that you're not really connected to any of the characters on an emotional level. And they throw you so many cliches about how Karen Gillan's relationship begins with the kid, the kid assassin relationship. You see in a bunch of other action movies at times done better. And it was just the story for me just felt totally flat. Paul Giamatti seems like he shot this movie in maybe a day, maybe a week at the latest. He's barely in the movie. And you also don't get his and Karen Gillan's relationship that much throughout the film. So for me, if you're not going to have a comedic written film, which is fine with an action movie, you just need a more charismatic lead actor. And I am a Karen Gillan fan. I am rooting for Karen Gillan. For me, this just wasn't the role for her in particular. She's good in the movie. I'm not saying she's bad or miscast or anything like that. I think the writers also just didn't give her enough to do from a charisma point of view. Didn't give her enough funny lines or one-liners. She's just kind of their main antagonist, and the storylines around her with her mom, then with the kid, they're just not that powerful, and you've seen those relationships done better in other action films. So overall, guys, I'm going to give Gunpowder Milkshake a 3.5 out of 5 stars, guys. A 71%. I had a good time watching this movie, but you can tell the film could have been a lot better and one of the better movies of the year, but a really disappointing script that doesn't give the stories at all any emotion to care about these characters. But the librarians do steal the entire movie. So that's my thoughts on Gunpowder Milkshake. Please tell me if you agree with me or disagree with me in the comment section down below. Will you check this one out this week on Netflix? I'll tell you, also subscribe and ring the bell because I have more movie reviews today. I'm seeing Escape Room Tournament of Champions. That review will be coming out as well today. Tomorrow morning, my Bad Batch spoiler review of the brand new episode of that show. Also, Fear Street Part 3, 1666. That review will also be coming out this weekend, and Space Jam 2 will also be out. All the reviews coming out this weekend. On Monday, I do a box office breakdown show. So those are all my videos coming up here on the channel. So please consider subscribing and ringing the bell for notifications.